All right, everyone. So we have another video on John Cena's farewell tour. So we're reading an article from WrestlingWorld.com. It says how WWE could conclude John Cena's farewell tour. As John Cena gears up to put on his knee-high wrestling boots and head into the final stages of his memorable WWE career, there's a lot to talk within the wrestling sphere concerning who will be in the ring with him during his farewell tour that starts off with WWE Raw on Netflix this January. In wrestling lore, legends often finish their journeys in ring by giving a push to young talent, while Nick Nemeth suggests an alternative whereby Cena would equally make a statement by ending against a seasoned peer. Nemeth was not alone, as he supported La Gresa's suggestion last week on Busted Open Radio that Randy Orton would be the perfect opponent for Cena. So we're reading a quote. "This is not always going to be one of those pass the torch things," said Nemeth, who noted that WWE's recent re signing of Cena only served to extend such a legacy further. He clarified it doesn't necessarily have to be Cena versus Braun Breaker or some fresh NXT talent. Everything has its time and season. TNA World Champion Nemeth drew comparisons between what may well be an epic confrontation, like between Cena and Orton, and another historic rivalry involving Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker at WrestleMania in 2009 and 2010, which marked very significant ends of two great careers. "We all know what's gone into it," he explained, indicating that it might not merely happen once. Given how close Cena is to retiring from the sport, facing Orton could have harkened back to their long-running heated feud and provide fans with an emotionally satisfying conclusion. Speculations increase as WWE plots out its final script for one of its biggest icons, as thoughts continue about who will take center stage against John, but also how it will wrap up this chapter. As we wait for the climax of his career, we wonder if they will stick with tradition or take a path where he would battle an ancient rival so as to preserve Cena's glorious heritage. So that's the article from Wrestling World. Go check them out. They have a lot of good content on that site. So this, I think, is an interesting topic because we've done many videos on the farewell tour now when we brought up this point of, yeah, Cena can use this to pass the torch onto the next generation. I think one thing this article kind of misses, and it's not the article that's missing it, it's just the conversation that the article's talking about, is that you can actually do both. Like this idea that Cena has to either do this kind of path where he feuds with Randy Orton and kind of puts a nice bow on his career, or passes the torch to somebody else. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Meaning, if Cena is fighting for an entire year, right? If his farewell tour starts on in January when they show up on Raw for the first Netflix show and ends the next January, you have a year's worth of storyline to build. And by doing that, you could be passing the torch all throughout that year and still end in a way that's kind of a good bow on Cena's career. And I really think that's something that WWE is going to, should try to, should come in and try to do. Because I don't think necessarily, like, this talk of like passing the torch, you talk about like Undertaker passing, I don't want to say he passed the torch to Brock Lesnar, but he gave him such a big boost by ending the streak. I think a lot of people look back on that and go, I don't know how much I love that. I love it, but I don't love it. I always say I love it because I think the more wrestling does to shock you, the more shocking things that happen allow it to be a better product. Like if you kind of just know that this streak is never actually going to end, then as cool as the streak is, you don't care as much. Versus now that we know, like, wow, WWE will crush the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, now anything is open. And I think when you're trying to tell a story, even if if you want to make it seem at least like there is nowhere you won't go, otherwise people are going to get kind of worn down and just kind of like, yeah, I know what's coming. But in Cena's case here, you don't have to have it where it's like this thing where he has to lose to pass the torch. He has to just pass the torch to somebody else. You could do both. You could have him feuding with some of the young guys. You can have him teaming in tag team matches on Raw with some of the young guys. You can have him putting his star onto other younger superstars while also, kind of finishing his career in a way. Because, I think a lot of us, we want to see Cena go out on top. Why would we want to see Cena, go out in a way that's like, oh, he's only passing the torch. Cena's just losing. He talked about this when he went on Shannon Sharp's podcast. He talked about the fact he's like, hey man, I'm on a losing streak. I'm losing right now. So he's clearly setting up for what's going to be during his run. That's going to be a theme. He wants to win again, right? He's tired of losing. So don't have him end his career as a loser. Don't have him end his career as, somebody who keeps getting his butt kicked. Have him end his career as the John Cena we know, that never give up, the overcome everything. And by doing that, you could still have him lose matches here and there or put over young guys without kind of ruining his farewell tour. So we'll see what happens. I thought this article was great. I thought it really brought up interesting questions. And so thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.